Hi, 1 Hour Smart Home here, and today we're going to show you how to install a dimmer switch. So we've got the dimmer switch that we're going to be replacing this existing light switch with, so we'll be able to dim the lights. So let's get started. The first thing that you need to do is turn the power off at the circuit breaker. Once you've got the power turned off at the circuit breaker, then check to make sure that this light switch is no longer working with whatever lights are connected to it and confirm the power is off. One way to confirm the power is off is to use a non-contact voltage meter to make sure there's no power there, and you can also use a multimeter to do so. Once we've turned the circuit breaker off and we've confirmed that the power is off so we can work on this, we're going to remove these two screws that are holding the light switch cover plate in place. Now we can remove the cover plate. Once we've removed the cover plate, it's a good idea to check once again with our non-contact voltage meter to make sure there's no longer any power with this light switch, and we've confirmed it's off once again and we've got that circuit breaker off. Now we can remove these two screws that hold the light switch onto the existing junction box. Now that we've got these two screws removed, we can pull the light switch out so we can identify the wiring. Now, before you do anything else, I recommend you take a picture of your existing wiring. In order to install the dimmer switch that we are installing, we're going to need a hot wire, a load wire, and a ground wire. Now, this is the installation of a dimmer switch for a single pole circuit, so not a three-way switch. And what we can see here is we've got our incoming wire, that is our hot wire, and that's going to be at the bottom of the light switch. And then at the top, we have what is our load wire, and that goes up to our light fixtures or the load on the circuit. The next one we've got here is our ground wire, and that's the unshielded copper wire. Now, sometimes that ground wire is going to be a different color. It would be green. So it's either unshielded copper, just bare copper like we've got here, or it would have green insulation on it. Let's take a better look at the wiring inside the junction box. So you can see our wires go further back here. And the wires that come from the bottom, that is our incoming hot, and then our outgoing load wires, that's that second bundle of wires that goes up through the wall into the light fixture. And then you might wonder, what is this white wire for? That's a neutral wire, and we don't need a neutral wire to install this particular light switch, but it is good to know that we have a neutral wire in our switch box, so that if we wanted to install a different type of switch, like a smart light switch in the future, we could do so. So all we need to do now is remove the existing wires, and then we can start wiring up the new switch. Now, I like to mark my hot wire with a little piece of tape so I know which one it is, and you can use different colors electrical tape or different styles of marking for either wire, but I would recommend that you mark it so that you don't get confused on which one is which. So let's remove all three of these wires. We removed our hot wire. We removed our load wire. Now let's remove our ground wire. Now we can remove the switch. This is the dimmer switch that we're going to be installing, and it wires up with wires that are on the back of it. And the wires that we've got here are, we've got our green ground wire, so that'll go to this green ground wire. The red wire is what's called our load wire, and that's going to go to our load wire right here, which goes up through the wall to our light fixtures. And then we've got our black wire right here, and that is our hot wire, and that's going to go on this hot wire that we've got marked right here. You might wonder, what is this fourth wire here for? Well, that's if you've got a three-way switch application for your dimmer. This is not a three-way switch. A three-way switch is where you've got two light switches that control one set of light fixtures, like you might find at the top and bottom of a stairway. So let's get started installing this. First thing we're going to do is just take this cover plate off so we can get in there a little bit better. There we go. And now let's start wiring up the wires to the switch. I'm going to take some pliers and straighten out this ground wire because we will be using wire nuts to get this connected. So we're going to need that one a little bit straighter here. Now we're ready to wire up the switch. So I'm just going to take my green wire here first, that's the ground wire, and wire it up to the unshielded ground wire. Now it doesn't matter which wire you wire up first with the dimmer switch, but you can just go in whatever order makes you feel comfortable. So once you've got that wired up, you just twist your wire nut. We can see we've got a nice connection there, and those wires started to twist around each other. So we're going to go on to the next wire. Here we've got our hot wire on the switch. It's the black wire, and we're going to look for our hot wire over here, and I know that's the hot wire because that's coming from down below that wire bundle, but I've also marked it here with that piece of electrical tape. So I like to take these wires and just get them kind of pre-started with the wire from the switch, wrap it around there once or twice, and once I've done that, I can put my wire nut on, and then I'm going to twist that in place, and I am rotating these clockwise to get these wires to lock into place there. We've got a nice secure bond. You'll be able to feel it as it goes in there once it tightens up. The last wire that we've got is our load wire, and that's this one right here, and that's going to go to the load wire that is going out the top of the box. So I'm taking my red wire from the switch and I'm attaching it to the load wire right here in the switch box. Now we've got all of our wires wired up, but we've got this one remaining wire, and I recommend you either clip that off, put a wire nut on it, or throw some electrical tape on it, just so that it doesn't make contact with anything inside of the electrical junction box. So I'm just going to fold this one back and put a little bit of electrical tape on it there so that it doesn't have any kind of exposed wiring. Okay, now we've got our dimmer switch wired up and we're ready to just reinstall this. So we're going to push our wires back into the junction box. Sometimes you have to fold them a little bit to get them in there to make everything fit. And then I'm going to make sure that the light switch itself, the dimmer switch, will fit in the junction box. So sometimes that requires a little bit more wire folding. So I'm going to refold this one a little bit differently. There we go, and then we're going to push our light switch into place. It took a little bit more wire folding to get this in place, and we push it in, then we use the 2 screws to attach a dimmer to the junction box. Now we take our light switch cover plate and we just snap it in place onto the dimmer. Okay, and now our dimmer switch is installed, so let's go restore the power at the circuit breaker. Now the power has been restored at the circuit breaker to our dimmer switch, so we can slide this up and you can see the lights turn on in the background. So I'm going to put it all the way up and you can turn it off, you can turn it on, or you can have this right in the middle or all the way down if you want. So we'll leave it all the way up and we'll turn it off. So thank you for watching this video on how to install a dimmer. If you like this video, please give us that thumbs up, subscribe, or click any of the links below. We've also got this dimmer in the links below, as well as some of the tools that we used for this. So thanks for watching 1 Hour Smart Home, how to install a dimmer switch, and we'll see you next time.